Did you enjoy the 4th of July?
Yes.
Wow. Really? You're like, yeah. Did you enjoy 4th of July?
Yeah.
Alright, that's summer. Good. Yeah, good morning to everyone. Today, actually, yes. Yeah, sharing the faith. Today, traditionally, the sharing the faith is considered as the Christian, important life of faith, actually. It's commended by Jesus. So today, I'd like to talk about sharing faith. And I'm going to just speak for maybe 15 minutes. Are you happy? Usually preacher put what's that? Watch. And then one preacher said it doesn't mean anything. But yeah, I will give just a short message, and afterwards I'd like to invite the GPA, and 3 of them give testimonies. So I'm the John the Baptist today here. Sharing faith. Actually, after Jesus' death, Jesus died on the cross, and 3rd day he resurrected. And he appeared to the disciple in the Galilee. And he gave instructions at the time. And let's start with the Bible here. Matthew 28 and 18 to 20. Then Jesus came to them and said, "All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Therefore, go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of Son and of Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you. And surely I am with you always, to the very end of the age." So this section of the Bible is known as the Great Commission. The Great Commission. And this is actually last recorded Jesus' instruction to the disciple. It's a last instructions. So therefore, it is very significant to all the Christian to follow the Jesus. At the same time, that's the foundation for the evangelism and cross-cultural mission work in the Christian theology. Because of this command, so Christians try to reach out all over the world. So, because of this instruction were to go to all the nations, and also it will be with he will be with us all the time until the very end of the age. So Christians were so courageous. Even before, long time ago, the earth was believed like a flat, right? And then in the end, there was some great force or something, but they don't mind to risk their lives. And all Christian faith, generation have embraced this command. So it's not great suggestion, but great command. So this is about, Great Commission is about one of the significant passage because, like I said, first, this is the last written, recorded Jesus instruction to each of, actually, you and me. And also, this is personal instructions and also personal calling from Jesus to all disciples, of course, including you and me. So that's why this passage is very important. Then Jesus called all Christians to step out in faith and spread this good news So this is the faith in action. It's not just prayer or just reading the Bible, but required action. Action is required to follow Jesus. Right? So people who obey this command change their spiritual life forever. It could be spreading the good news to a neighbor or moving to another country, like many of you actually. Right? Or it could be sharing the message down the street, or you go to the other city to share your faith. So, sharing the faith and spreading the good news is very fundamental things as Christian and the followers of Jesus Christ. What about Unification Church? Unification is faith. How do you think? So Unification Faith was, of course, founded in Korea in 1954. We just weeks ago we celebrate the Foundation Day, right? Founding of the HSA. And by Reverend Sun Myung Moon, known as True Father, and he and his wife, Dr. Hak Han Moon, known as True Mother, led this development. And now we have over, I don't know exactly number, sometimes I remember 192 nations, there is a branch of Unification Church. So, in fact, we are the only one faith tradition in the history of the world. Within the lifetime of the founder's life, we built such many nations. So if you think about that point, Unification Church, we are the one who really follow Jesus' instructions. Please raise your hand if you come from other country. Please raise your hand. Right? Look at that. Many people. Let's give a big hand to everybody. I believe this is the strength of our faith. No matter what kind of situation we follow, our true parents, Reverend and Dr. Sun Myung Moon, and his wife, Hak Han Moon. And then we are here to build something, to spread good news. Do you feel you have good news?
Yes.
Yes.
Or sad news? Or somebody's right. Yeah, we sometimes face, sad things, but we know how to overcome because of faith, because of love that true parents shown us, and divine principle give us how to deal with that. As a matter of fact, myself struggle about world situation, world affair. Why so many wars and disease, and why I am so miserable. But because of the truth and love shown by our true parents, I can say I'm saved. Saved from difficulty. Different level of difficulty I'm dealing with. So, none of us are perfect, but everybody is on the way.
Yes.
You feel so?
Yes.
Everybody is on the way.
Yes.
So, anyway, my point is that we are in a 40-day summer witnessing campaign, right? Starting June 22nd until July, somebody remember? 31, end of July. And this kind of a campaign, actually witnessing campaigns, actually not the strange. If you go back to the faith tradition of Christian, it's a natural. Encourage people to witness and share your faith. So, however, reality is reality. We had some of you attend the meeting held before the campaign starts. We had evening meeting on Wednesday, a couple of weeks ago before campaign starts. And we had a World Cafe tables. Right? There were 3 topics. And one is, what are the obstacles in witnessing, and what do we need to break through, and ideas for witnessing. Basically, why we need to do like this meeting is because it's a little difficult. Everybody feel, including myself, difficulty you feel, I feel. So that's why need to figure out what's the problem. Right? So that's why I call the people, and 30 people gather, and we share. And also in the meeting, at the table, it was thought-provoking comments. Many thought-provoking comments were made. Like many of them say, I'm the obstacle. And another one is that we don't have positive concept of ourselves. Therefore, people will not accept what we say and believe. So some people say that, but that gave me a chance to think about it. But like I said, we have many, many good things. Actually, we are the only faith tradition spread, grow our church to all over the world, to cover entire world within the lifetime of our founder. Right? So we should really find the values in ourselves. And last couple of weeks, we have many people who host the whole meeting, and we share what we feel and what we have experienced. And the previous week, last week, I asked the congregation to share about why you joined Unification Church. Think about how you are, when you are asked from your friends or co-workers, why you joined the Unification Church? What to reply? You gotta prepare, right? That's why I asked, share in 3 minutes. And many people share, very impressive things. I'm so impressed. And the last week, I asked the question, why is it so important, the Unification Church, to you? Think about it. Why so important? And also amazing the testimony I got. Yeah, I want to share just one things. Why you joined the Unification Church? And one Filipino sister shared a very interesting story. I feel God is really working behind her. Otherwise, she cannot be a member. She couldn't be a member. The sister was Filipino sister, but before joining the church, she was working in Hong Kong, and back to the 90s, late 90s. And then one day, some person, Unificationists, approached her and say, would you like to marry foreigner? She said, yes. Then sign up here. Then she signed up. Not only that, she gave her money, $40. But she didn't go to the center, church center. And after a few months later, she got a call from the same person. Then that person said, oh, you got congratulations. You got matched.
Oh my God.
What? She didn't understand, of course. But she visited the center, and she was introduced to a brother who were in here, Chicago. Of course, but she doesn't have any background. She didn't study at all. She just simply agreed she want to marry with somebody from other nation. Right? But doesn't mean she's going to join the church and receive education, divine principle, and accept the blessing. Doesn't mean that. So anyway, in the beginning, it was a little difficult. And at some point, it was, both of them agreed not to accept each other. Unfortunately, that time. However, so then husband candidate, throw away all the information. Of course, right? If you are rejected, it's natural, right? But one night, the husband candidate, got a dream. In the dream, she appeared and gave a telephone number to him in the dream. In the morning, he woke up in the dial. He remembered the number exactly and called the number. And it was her. That way they reconnected. And a few more things happened, but they overcame. And finally, they got rest and they started happy. So, I think this is God, right? Behind, if no God behind them, how come they can get together? So many, interesting and impressive testimony I heard last couple of weeks. Another testimony is, I'm very impressed, actually, Mrs. Kuroha, Elizabeth Kuroha. She, came to the last Wednesday. We shared why Unification Church is important to you. And then she shared deep stuff. Actually, no time today, so I'm not going to share. But maybe next week or following week, I want to invite her to share in the 3 minutes. She very deep things shared in the 3 minutes. And also mentioned about what's the difference of Christian faith and unification faith. But that is a great practice. And I'm so inspired to hear people, brothers and sisters' testimony. So anyway, today I'm just talking about how important to share. So you will be asked, many of you are breast central family, right? Breast central family. And you want to be, if you're not breast, you want to be breast anyway, right? So breast central family means, if you are center, we are the center, means we have surroundings, right? Without surroundings, we cannot say we are center. If you are alone, we just breast family. Well, that is good. But we are breast central family. We have some mission to do, to take care of the people around us. So, my sermon is that's it. And I just want to mention about importance of sharing. I'm going to keep doing this sharing practice on Wednesday night at the UC Center. So if you have a time, please join me. But at this point, I'd like to ask Emmanuel Rinkemer to introduce GPA. GPA gonna give us the song and also nice testimonies. But one of the great graduates of GPA, Emmanuel. Oh, by the way, did you check a new website? Do you know dplife.info? Yeah, please visit. Even your smartphone can go. And there's a testimony, a couple of people's testimony. Emmanuel's testimony, you remember TV program when he was fundraising. It's on in the website. I don't want to embarrass you. Let's invite Emmanuel to introduce GPA.
Thank you. Yeah, maybe some of you guys are like, oh, wasn't GPA called STF before? Well, it was, and when I heard the name change, I was like, oh, GPA usually stands for grade point average. That's kind of lame. But GPA stands for Generation Peace Academy, and what they're trying to do is the children of unificationists after high school. It doesn't have to be only after high school, just like maybe young people. I remember there was a 26-year-old person, but just generally young people in the unification of faith, they'd give up a year of their life to do different activities, and it's kind of like a training for the next generation of peace, therefore Generation Peace Academy. And I think it's very beneficial, and I'm so glad all you guys went, and I know you guys probably had a really difficult time, but afterwards you're like, that growth feels good. So yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for coming here. You guys are able to offer a song for us and some kind of testimonies, and really through testimonies we can understand how different people feel God. And that's something that I really gained on GPA, as I see that other people experience God so differently, and it's beautiful to see that. So I just want to welcome up there's going to be a song, and then 3 people are going to be giving a testimony. And yeah, so hopefully we can all receive with an open heart. So let's welcome up the GPA to give up a song, guys.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, it's nice to be back.
All right. Welcome.
So today we'd like to offer a song called One Day. We sang it actually in the Philippines, but we're gonna sing it to just kind of give back to you and really show our appreciation. So I hope you enjoy it. Thank you. Sometimes I lay under the moon and thank God I'm breathing. Then I pray, don't take me soon, 'cause I'm here for a reason. Sometimes in my tears I drown, but I never let it get me down. So when negativity surrounds, I know someday it'll all turn around, because all my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that they don't want to fight no more. There'll be no more wars, and our children will play one day.
One day, one day, yeah, yeah.
One day,
One day, one day, yeah, yeah.
It's not about win or lose, 'cause we all lose when we feed on the souls of the innocent. Blood-drenched pavement, keep on moving though the waters stay raging.
In this maze, you can lose your way, your way. It might drive you crazy, but don't let it bend you nowhere, no way.
sometimes in my tears I drown, but I never let it get me down. So when negativity surrounds, I know someday it'll all turn around, because all my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that they don't want to fight no more. There'll be no more wars, and our children will play one day.
One day, one
day,
yeah, yeah.
one day,
One day, one day, yeah.
One day all will change, treat people the same. Start with the violence, start with the hate.
They will all be free and proud to be under the same sun, singing songs of freedom like
One
day, one day.
Why,
One day, one day.
yeah.
All my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that they don't want to fight no more. There'll be no more wars, and our children will play one day.
One day, one day, yeah.
One day,
One day, one day, yeah.
Ooh, why-ya, why-ya, why-ya.
My goodness, I wish I could sing. That's why I'm the MC, guys. Can't sing. So let's prepare for the testimonies. And when you guys give testimonies, just pass it on to the next person. And maybe don't clap after each person. I don't know if you want to, but they'll just pass the mic through. And it's going to be Alex Swenson, Matthew, and Young Me, okay? So let's welcome up Alex Swenson for a testimony, everybody.
Before I start, I want to thank Heavenly Parents and True Parents and my own parents. One second. Okay, so why did I join GPA? I joined because I wanted to solidify my faith before I went off to college. And at the beginning of the year, the way I viewed that was very intellectual faith. Not like, I was completely naive to what faith meant, like internal faith and really owning your own faith. And so the first half of the year, I started off at 43rd Street. And if you don't know what that is, you're in Manhattan at 43rd Street, and it's like a leadership program. I did ballroom, and it wasn't really a good way to start off the year because for me, it wasn't really focusing on my faith at all. I was just having a good time, and I was dancing and hanging out with friends, and I didn't really do anything to expand my faith. I honestly wasn't even praying. And then after that, I went into overseas, and that was a 4-week condition. I had an amazing team and amazing team leader, but I was still striving for this intellectual faith that I thought was faith. And just knowing what I believe, being able to talk about it, all on the surface, not like feeling it deep down. I didn't know that was what was important, really. And so I was striving to please others and striving to please my captain and like striving for their standards, not really fighting for my own standards and like fighting for my own relationship with God. It was all based off of what others were telling me to do and what others, like their advice for me. And I wasn't really finding it for myself. So the first half of the year, I wasn't really in a good place. I was having good experiences, but then I was trapping all this like internal problems that I had inside, just ignoring them because I thought what's on the surface was what others see and that is what mattered. But then I went overseas to Argentina. That was an amazing experience. Really seeing how giving to the world looks like, and going overseas, scrubbing scum off of a pool. I mean, I could do that in America, but it just means so much more when you work so hard to get to another place to help other people and learn about their culture. But I still wasn't in a good place while doing this. I wish I was, because I think I would have gained a lot more. But I was still suppressing everything that was going on inside of me and things that I thought didn't matter. And then when I got home, or when we came back, we were at UTS, and it was before Foundation Day, and we all wrote repentance letters and redeterminations. And I sat down and thought really deeply about what was going on inside of me, and how I had stopped praying, how I had stopped even wanting to do anything, Hyundai, whatever. I didn't find any meaning in it. And then I made a determination to take on my problems, like really realize them and bring them to the surface. And I had an amazing conversation with my central figure at the time. He told me the reason why it's so important to talk to a central figure, because I didn't want to bother anyone with my problems or anything. So I never went to anyone to talk to them. And finally he explained like why we do that. And it's because you're offering up to God. You're not keeping it inside yourself. You're offering up with humility to God. And so that's exactly, that night, I poured out like everything that was on my heart, and I offered it up to God through him, and with complete humility. And then after that, I decided, I realized what was important, and I was working on these problems I had within myself. And I actually had, I went home after Divine Principle module, because I had to go to the doctors and take care of things, but it was the perfect opportunity, and I'm really glad I went home, because at the time, or actually in your life, your parents are your central figures, and they're really important to, it's really important to offer up everything to God through them, because they're the closest thing you have to God. And so I always had a good relationship with my parents, but then there was always these things that I kept inside that I was like, it doesn't matter, I don't need to tell them. But then I realized that if I have a little bit, even an ounce of maybe hesitancy, maybe I shouldn't tell them, that I should just tell them. And so I worked on that when I was home, and I just opened up completely to my parents, and I always involved them in anything that was going on. And in that way, I feel like God was able to work through them, because I was offering up everything to him. And it was a really good time that I had when I was home. Everything inside calmed down, and I found peace and positivity. But I was kind of deciding not to come back to GPA after that. I only had fundraising module left, and I didn't want to come back to that. But I realized that I was being selfish, and I really wanted to show God I loved him, and to give back what I gained, and put it into practice. So I went back for competition, probably the hardest part of the year, and I was determined to keep my positivity and my inner peace. And it turned out to be a really amazing competition. I went out fundraising, just focusing on what I could give others. And at the beginning of the year, I think I was so blocked because I was focusing on what I could gain and trying so hard to collect facts and gain wisdom. But once you focus on what you can give others, then you naturally gain from that. So when I was in the van or out on the front line, every conversation, no matter how that person treated me, I wanted to treat them like they were as valuable as I was, and give them something, give them happiness, always keep my peace and joy, and be like a beacon of light to them, or just a pathway to God. And even with my own team, when they were negative in the van, because it happens every time when you're fundraising, you just go through a stink. But I was determined not to let anything that was going, that stink inside of me affect other people. But I think I was later told that my captain was really grateful that I was able to do that for them. And sum it up, some of the main points that I learned throughout the year was to have a relationship with your parents, because that is how you have a relationship with God. And to keep that positivity within yourself and that inner peace, so important. Always being positive, never complaining. And in that way you can live for the sake of others because you're not being bogged down by your own selfish thoughts. And you're just keeping hope, keeping faith for other people around you. And the most important thing that I solidified this year is how important it is that you live your life for the sake of others. And one time when I was fundraising, a man asked me what I truly believe, and I told him that I'm on this earth to live for other people. It just doesn't make any sense to me to live and fight just for yourself, because the world just doesn't move that way. And so every little thing, I was determined to check myself and make sure that I wasn't being selfish. I'm not perfect. I haven't perfected that, but I'm working on it. And GPA really helped me see that. And now I know what faith means more. It's not wisdom. It's really what you feel in your heart and what you get through God and how you're able to give God to other people and what you're able to give just more deep than on the surface. And I'm really happy I went to GPA. I feel like I would stay ignorant to that fact and just believe that faith is going to church and listening to sermons and getting inspiration, but not truly feeling it, not truly living it. It was a good year.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay. I'd also like to thank God and True Parents and my parents for being so supportive of me this past year. Yeah, I really struggled with depression and like self-consciousness for GPA. I mean, I still do. GPA doesn't really get rid of your problems, is what I learned, and it kind of. I realized that it gives you the tools to really deal with your problems. And I want to talk about first my divine principle experience in Gloucester. And yeah, there I really the whole concept of God and the divine principle really changed my thinking. Learning that God isn't happy with the way things are going on earth, and that I can really, God knows all about depression. He really does, and He knows about. He knows every single emotion that you go through, and I found comfort in that I could connect to Him in that way. I can really relate to Him personally, because I never really thought about that. Like, I'm depressed. Oh, there's no one that goes through the same thing. But really, you can connect to God in that way. And if you are, if you do go through that and insecurity, then it can be really comforting to know that God isn't this big happy ball of sunshine in the sky, but really, it's something really real, and you can connect to him with whatever emotion you're going through. So yeah, that was a really great experience. I'm trying to keep it brief, so I'm going to skip over to overseas. I went to the Dominican Republic this year. It's a great country. It's really, the people there are really, they're just jokesters. They're always joking and laughing around. But they're so open. And yeah, really through serving people, it really forced me to question what is my purpose for just life in general. Like, why do I do things? Like, do you ever wonder that? Yeah. Like, why am I scraping this paint off? Because we did a lot of painting. And, because I didn't feel like it was gratifying. I didn't feel connected to some big purpose, but I started getting the mindset, like, I'm doing this for, this family that deserves it so much, because they're so grateful for everything we did there. Like, they would walk by and they'd just be like, oh, bonito, like whenever they saw the painting. So it forced me, it really made me personally discover what living for the sake of others is. I never truly connected to that. You only hear that in lectures. It's not, I don't know, for me at least, it's not something I really felt, but like I really personally felt that. And that there's power, like I have so much power in loving, and I began to really believe in my power to love. Because when you struggle with like insecurity and self-consciousness, you don't really think about that, but I realized the best way to overcome insecurity is through loving people. And that's really what I found for myself. And yeah, I guess like for people going to GPA, or anyone who goes through the same struggle, it's really about you making the conscious effort to believe in the power you have, to believe in, just believe in yourself. It's something I realized that God doesn't just want you to believe in Him, but He wants you to believe in yourself and the power that He gave you. So yeah, it's a conscious effort. It's not something you learn and then it's automatic for the rest of your life, but it's something I still work on. Is really believing my power to love people and other people's power. So yeah, I guess it can be a lesson for people. I mean, anyone. You don't have to be going to GPA, but really, just to have a prosperous mindset about yourself. You have the choice to be grateful. You have the choice to love people. You don't have to have this doubtful mindset about yourself. It's really not you. It comes from like all the junk in society that makes you think that way, but you really have the power to love yourself, love who you are now, and yeah, don't wait for happiness, but you have the conscious ability to be happy.
Amen.
Yeah, so I'm really grateful for GPA. I'm still kind of digesting everything. It takes a long time to really take in everything that happened, but yeah, I'm really grateful to my parents, who almost every phone call on GPA was like, my mom would ask me, oh Matt, how are you? I'm like, I'm not doing good. Like, every phone call was just frustration with me, and I wasn't too good at receiving their love, and it's something I want to work on now. I've gotten better at it, but yeah, it's good. It's good to receive. That's one big thing to learn. So yeah, I would like to thank them and thank you.
Hi everyone. So first, most importantly, I'd like to say thank you to God and true parents. Thank you to my parents and my older brother and my younger sisters. Thank you to the community here, and to all my brothers and sisters from this past GPA year who have loved me and helped me and grown with me. So before coming to GPA, kind of similar to Matt, I was in a very dark place. I was at a point in my life where I was starting to realize that everything that I am, or everything that I was based off of the feeling that I needed to be someone for the people that I cared about, and I needed to be strong for my family, I felt, and so I clinged on to my parents' faith, and I love true parents, but from my parents' point of view, you know, I would hear their stories and really try to take them in as my own, take their relationship with God and true parents as my own. And it worked for a while, until I actually went to the blessing when right before I turned 17, and I became God gave me a responsibility to love and to make a promise to another person, to care for them for the rest of my life, you know, to learn and grow with them for the rest of my life. And it was so much, it was more than I could really take in at that time. And I reflected and I realized that even though externally I've been strong for my family and for myself, internally there was really no connection to God and true parents that I could really build a family off of, and really keep a solid promise to this precious person off of. And so I was really stuck. I wasn't sure, you know, what to do, because I didn't want to break my parents' heart. I didn't want to break God and true parents' heart. And so going to GPA, I came with the sole purpose in developing a personal relationship with God and true parents, and to figure out who I really am. Not without my family and my parents, but kind of like as a person individually, who am I? And what kind of lifestyle I want to live. And so, yeah, going in, my first module was fundraising. And fundraising, if you haven't been out fundraising, it's one of the most challenging things you can do. I guess, like, if you don't really have a purpose, it's so easy to just give up and, you know, just find a curbside and sit there, you know, until your captain comes and picks you up. Yeah, fundraising, I knew that's where I could potentially grow the most if I really pushed myself. And so for a while I tried to work off of my own strength. And it like, just like in my family, growing up in my family, it worked for a while. I was crushing it, you know, I was bringing in the money, but after a while, like, it just, it became shallow again, you know, and I really had to dig deep. And fundraising was the way that God actually humbled me, kind of beat me up to a pulp, you know, to really see myself, see the level that I'm really at in understanding what love really means. And so after I was beat up, after I was humbled, we went into 43rd, where we're always with our brothers and sisters, you know, and it's an environment where it's a lot more calm. It's definitely a lot more calm than fundraising, and you're in an environment with your brothers and sisters, and there's a lot of space and time for you to kind of compare yourself, compare your path and your growth to the brothers and sisters around you. And being there, I realized that that's always been my problem. I've always wanted to be stronger than everyone else, so that everyone, you know, could lean on me. But yeah, that was my arrogance. So going into 43rd with kind of that humbled attitude, I was able to see myself really clearly right away. Like, wow, like why do I have to be this kind of person? You know, why do I have to worry about other people so much, and kind of get like sucked up in like the social kind of, you know, atmosphere. And I did a lot of conditions during 43rd because we had a lot of time, you know. I did them for my blessing and to really figure out like what I want and quiet all my thoughts and my worries, and just listen to my inner child, my inner heart. And yeah, and by doing that, I was able to actually find confidence within myself that actually came from God, that came from something that's more consistent, more unconditional, and you know, and so. I was able to find a lot of peace within myself and kind of have an idea of what kind of life I want to live, centered on God and true parents, and be able to forgive myself as well. So there was a lot of healing at 43rd. And then after that, I was sent overseas. I got to go to the Philippines. That's where my mom's from, and it was really awesome. I was able to actually... I mean, I have a good relationship with my mom, I feel. I can be really honest with her. But going there, I was able to understand the culture in which she came from, and understand her heart more, I feel. But I was really frustrated in the Philippines because externally they don't really have much at all. But their hearts were so full of love, and they really understood what it means to love and to live, you know. And their lives seemed so much more satisfying than the kind of lifestyle that a lot of Americans have here. And so I was really frustrated because I came there to give. Externally, we had all these like different projects and stuff, but internally, I felt like they were giving me so much, you know, and I wanted to be the one like giving them, and yeah, so I was really frustrated, like, why God, why do I feel this way? But yeah, after wrestling with it and being able to kind of just like let go, I was able to understand the power that God, the power of God's love that He can give through others, and the power that I can give, power of God's love that I can give to others. And yeah, and overall it was really crazy. And then last I had a Divine Principle module with Uncle Jerry Servito. Even though I felt like I wasn't really prepared at the start to go into the Divine Principle module, because my heart was so full of different emotions and unsettled like experiences that I was still trying to like digest. Yeah, Uncle Jerry Servito, he really melted all of our hearts, because I mean, growing up trying to read the Divine Principle for Hundake and stuff like that, and try to figure it out and memorize like all these facts and stuff, it was really difficult. But he approaches it from God's perspective, from God's heart, and divides it like from the principle of creation, God's heart of joy and hope, and from the fall of man, it's God's heart of pain, and then with the restoration, it's God's heart of sorrow, you know. And just being able to relate to God and kind of like what Matt said, like understand that God, every emotion that we have, God understands, and He's experienced it so much more deeper and more, so much more. And being able to relate to our parent that way, it made the DP not seem just like a book on the shelf or anything, but it was really the story of us, the story of our Heavenly Parent and us. And I kind of regret not having questions and really specific points that I wanted to gain out of DP, but just like being there, being in that environment, and being under the guidance of Uncle Jerry, I was able to receive a lot of love and a lot of truth. Overall, I was trying to just sum up maybe 2 or 3 points that I gained out of this year, because like they said, we've received a lot and it's hard to digest everything right away. But definitely this year I learned, or God showed me that it wasn't wrong for me to be clinging onto my parents' life of faith, to be trying to understand God and true parents from their point of view, but God was really asking me to take a step up and own my faith and own my relationship with Him, and understand that it's unique, that I can't really compare my path to anyone else's. We're all very different. We're all on unique paths, but we have the same purpose, the same destination. And I realized that when God is at the center of my existence, I realized this during fundraising, when my heart, mind, spirit, and body are really fighting, really centered on God, on His love, and on a certain goal, that both God and I can unite on, then actually everything else in my life makes sense. Everything falls into place. It might sound really cliche to some of you, I don't know, but just nothing in my life made sense before, because my mind and my heart were centered on my emotions and me victimizing myself before GPA. But through this experience, I was able to actually come out of myself and really see the bigger picture. And for that, I'm really grateful. I'm grateful to God and true parents. I'm grateful to my parents and my family, and to GPA. Thank you.
Thank you so much for wonderful testimony. Their word is so inspiring, because it's not just come from somewhere in the air, but they are talking based on the experience. That's why each word is so precious. Anyway, let's give one more big hand to them. Thank you.